Yeah. So IT Talent Hub, right? So where we all are here, it's a common platform that is providing a lot of services specifically for learners. So we are one of the largest independent community within the for IT within the UK. And yeah, we have the training services running more than 10 years in London. And we the main point is right. We have a dedicated recruitment team that will help you throughout your entire journey. Like when you jump into the coding, right? When you are going through the training phase, then you will be having a job support phase. The entire recruitment team is there who will apply on the behalf of you. They will take the leads from the internet and they will make sure that your interview go well. They will provide you all kind of supports. Yeah. Uh, these are some of the clients which are from us, and yeah, these are our success board. A lot of students recently who got placed in a different companies. I just mentioned their names and the respective companies, right? Yeah, within some time your name will also be there. Just focus needs to be done, so that's all. Now there might be question that okay, why we should choose IT Talent Hub, right? So some of the reasons and some of the things that we are offering, I mentioned it over here. First of all, the trainers, the quality of trainers are amazing over here. And the main thing is right, guys. So uh, in India or in other countries, the job market acts in a different way. So the entire curriculum is designed specifically to support the UK job market. Accordingly, the entire curriculum is designed. Yeah, and one good news, in just last month we have more than 10 plus students who got placed, uh, and that is because of the job support program, right? What is job support program? I'll explain it in detail in upcoming slides. It's actually the program that will allow that we will provide you so that you can get a better job after your training. So I'll tell you about this in detail. Again, we have a link with some consultancy companies and where you might be working as a projects uh, on live projects or something, and we have a dedicated recruitment team to place our students. That is what I explained previously. We have interview preparation sessions, your CV preparation sessions, your interview support sessions, right? We have everything for you. uh, I'll explain. Coming to the important part, that hey Ashish, you're telling us about job support program, what it is actually. Let's say you did your training, you did all your projects, and after that, what is next? You're done with training, you did your projects, then there is a specific program that is designed for placement. So basically in that program we'll be providing you a lot of facilities. First of all, you will be working on a real-time project that will be a big and major project that will include all the concepts that you learned during your training. So you'll be working on a live project. Alongside, you'll be having the team will be applying on the behalf of you for different kind of companies. And if you got any leads that you will get for sure, then interview support will be there. Like tomorrow you have an interview, and today you need to set one call with any mentor or mentor of your choice so that you can discuss things, you can get some tips or what to study and how. So interview support sessions will be there for you. If you got any technical task from any company, you need some sort of help, you are not able to understand that, again team will be there to help you. So that's all. This is a timeline, rough timeline, right? So how it will be working. So first, you'll be having a training of 2 months where I'll be explaining you about different concepts of full stack development, starting from entire beginning to the advanced level. So that is a training, and then you'll be having a 1 month of project where during this training, whatever you have learned, right, all those things you have to implement in that 1 month of project. So that is what is you can say project. So once you are done with your training, you are done with your live project, then you'll be having one assessment. And uh, if you pass that assessment, you will be step into the job support service that I explained previously. In this job support service, again, you will be working on one live project, and that will be a very big project and bit complex because it assumes that you have gone through 2 months of training, you have done one live project, you pass your assessment, so you are now capable of doing that particular project. So that comes under your job support service, and you will be preparing your CVs. A team will be helping you throughout, and in that you will be having interviews and all, right? So whenever you will be getting called for interview, you can claim as many sessions as you want with mentors so that we can guide you in any way it's possible. So that's how it works. Any doubt in this timeline part? You have any questions for me so far, guys? Anyone? Yes. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead. Again, I'll just mention some of the steps about this entire service. So in training, I'll explain project, I'll explain what we'll be doing, right? After assessment, you will be having this job support service. So all these are the steps that will be there. First, you'll be having a one big project that you'll be create with mentor or some any other client, right? And then there is a recruitment team is there, right? These teams will collect the data from different recruiters. They will write CV for you. For those, we have a different CV writers over our team, and some of the marketing agents are there, right? Who will apply, who will take your CVs. They will take the leads about the job from recruiters, and these marketing agents will apply the jobs on the behalf of you according to your skill set, according to your CV. And if you got any leads, then the mentor is there, and that mentor can set up your project and all if they are giving, and they will provide you entire guide for your interview and any kind of tips or links or material to study if it's a short time interview. So that's how job support service works. It's basically a service that is specifically designed you so that you can grab a good job, and we can support you through that entire process. So that's why he's sharing all these details with you, how to enroll and all. But yeah, if you have any questions for me, you can ask me till now, guys. Anyone? Yes. Is it clear till here? Any questions so far? Okay, cool. So we can go ahead. Uh, I'm sharing my screen again. This time we are going to see a different thing. Do let me know once it's visible. You're able to see it?
Yes.
Okay. So let's start with the actual thing about what is full stack. Hey, any one of you know what is full stack? Yes, anyone? Any idea? Basic idea about full stack? Yes, anyone? Okay, so let's start. So what is the agenda for today? We'll be learning how web work, what is full stack, what are the benefits of it, what to learn, how to learn, and what is the scope of full stack if you learn, and any kind of question answers. So let's first understand, right, how web works. So before even going to how web works, I have few questions for you, right? Hey, you might have used different kind of things. You might have used softwares in your Windows or in your system, right? You might have used Android applications, and you might have used websites. So these are the different medium to serve a service. For example, any company is there, right? And that company has developed some kind of service, and that service they wanted to uh, actually serve to their customers. So they have a different way. There might be way they can create a software that can run on the customer's laptop. There might a way that they can create an Android app, or they might create a website, right? So different ways are there to serve that service to their customers. For example, I'll just tell you, Instagram is using these two ways, right? Or maybe this one also they are using. So they have their service in all three ways. You can use their website, you can use their app, you can use their software also. So I'm not sure about this one, but yeah. So we are mostly will be learning about this one, how to provide the services over the web to your clients. That is what all about websites, like why websites are built, why web apps are built, so that you can provide your services to your clients over the internet, right? So that is how it works. So we'll be learning about websites. Okay, now coming to this point, how web works. Let's say you build your website. We'll come later how you can build your website. Let's say you build your entire websites, and now how you can serve that website to your customer over the internet. For that, you have to understand one thing, right? So the entire what I can say is just a thing. Yeah, the entire internet works over the client server architecture. Client server architecture, you can say. The internet is working over the client server architecture. I'll explain to you in a very simple way, and then we'll come here. So I think you, every one of you might have eaten pizza, right? Yes or no, guys? Okay. So let's say this is a pizza shop. So whenever you enter in a pizza shop, right? So you sit some sort of table, and there you ordered a pizza. So let's say this is one table. Just take it for now. You are sitting over here, right? And you ordered one pizza. And this is the kitchen, you can say, where in order to actually cook that pizza, and the person who will cook, the chef, the entire thing is present inside this particular kitchen, all the resources which are required to make that pizza, right? But you will not directly go to the chef. Let's say there is a service that some waiter is there, so that guy will come to you and you will provide your order to that waiter, right? And that guy will go back, and they will give it to the chef that, hey, there is one request this client has given, that I wanted to eat this pizza, can you cook it? Can you cook it, right? Again, you will pay some money later on, it's fine. But then chef will take that request from the waiter who is giving on behalf of you, and chef will start cooking, right? And once the cooking is done, a chef again, waiter will come, it will collect that pizza from the chef and it will serve it to your table, and then you will start eating it. So that's the process, right? A simple thing. So if you just visualize it, it is again a client server architecture. See, you are a client over here. You wanted to avail one service. You are a client, and this guy is a server, right? Uh, the person who can serve the things, like who can create the things and all the resources which are required to create the pizza. So the chef who will create the pizza and all the resources which are required to create the pizza, the collection of this is known as a server. So you are a client who wanted to avail a service, and this is a server who has all the resources to fulfill that service, right? So this is a you are a client, and this is a server. But again, you need a person who can take the request from the client, and it will pass that request to your particular server. So those are known as web browsers, like Chrome or something, right? So those are known as web browsers. So in the web browser, you will type here a URL of any particular website, and then that web browser will send that request on the behalf of you to that website, and that website will again give the response back to the browser, and browser will render it to you over the UI, and you will see it. So that is how web works. It works over the client server architecture. See, you are able to see on this image, right? So it might be your workstation, it might be your phone, it might be your laptop. Over the internet, you will just make a request to the server. But directly, you will not make a request to the server. You will open some browser. Maybe you can open Chrome, right? Maybe you can open Firefox, Safari. Anyone can use any browser. Through that browser, you will make a request to the server, and server will give you the response back. So that is how internet works, right? Like over here. So if you wanted to have a pizza, you will give your request to this particular server using this waiter, using this middleman, that is a web browser over here. So this web browser will take your request, and it will pass your request to the server, and then server will give you the response back, not directly to you. Through the browser, it will give you the response back, and you can consume it. So like that it works, right? uh, so guys, any doubts you have for me till here? That is how client server architecture works. In a very nutshell, I'll explain it in detail. So that is the first how web works. It actually works over the client server architecture. That's all. So you are a client, you will make a request to the server, and server will give you the response. But let's understand about this term, what actually is a client or server, right? I explained it over here. A client is someone who want to consume a service like you. But what is server actually over here? So server in pizza shop, all the resources which are required to make a pizza, that is a server, right? But in computer, let's say you are building a service to actually transport the videos or something, right? So server is nothing. Server is the combination of two things: your code, whatever code you have written, right, plus availability. This is a server. Remember, forget for spelling for now. Yeah, your code plus availability, this is a server. For example, if you are using your computer, right, you can just put your code in your computer, and you can run that code, and it is a server now. You have a system on which your code is running. If anyone can access this system is a server. But the point is, right, your clients can access it anytime. Like Instagram, you will open at 2 p.m. or 2 a.m. It doesn't matter, right? Because their server is running 24 into 7, right? Their server is running 24 hours. So any computer who has a compute power, connectivity to the internet, and that can run 24 into 7, that is known as a server. And it can, in that computer, if you put your code, anyone can access it. Getting my point, guys? It is simply a server. Like any computer which has compute power, means RAM or connectivity to the internet, and it will run 24 into 7. There will be no electricity failure or something. So that your server should be up and running, so everyone can access it. That is what is a server. And client, the person who wanted to consume the service, that is a client. So that's all, guys. Clear till here? Any questions so far? Yeah. Okay. So let's go ahead then. Uh, yeah. So what are the role? What actually is full stack, right? So full stack is the process of creating the client and server. I'll explain you. So let's say you have, let's take example of YouTube, right? So YouTube has this amazing, beautiful website, and that website is running where? in the Chrome, or you can access it anywhere, right, in any browser. And then YouTube might be having a server. So this is a UI of YouTube, and this is the server of YouTube, right? And through this UI, you can make a request to the different services of the YouTube. So the person who can create this client and the person who can create this server code, that guy is known as a full stack developer. Full stack means you are expertise in both front end as well as back end technologies, right? That is what is a full stack developer. So this entire course is focused so that you can become a good and skilled full stack developer. So what are the different roles and different duties that full stack developer has to do whenever they are developing any application, right? First of all, the core is a full stack developer should know how to write a code for front end, how to write a code for back end. Back end means your server, and yeah, how to plan the entire project starting from the beginning phase till the end phase, how to plan the entire project, how to plan different kind of components and different kind of architectures, right? And once the entire application is ready, how you implement the security practices to secure it from any kind of attacks. So that is also a duty of full stack developer, that they should know. And how to communicate with different kind of databases, again, that is also a duty of full stack developer. I'll explain about this term database. So once you created this entire front end, back end, everything, how you can serve this entire service to your customers. So you should also know the deployments. Like once you have created front end, how you can deploy it, and you will get one unique URL. Through that URL, your people can actually consume your front end that you created, right? How you can deploy your backend so that anyone can make a request to your backend and backend can give you the response back. So entire thing, right? The entire planning, the creation of front end, creation of back end, communication with databases, security implementations, and in the end, deployments, how to deploy your code over the internet. So this complete package should be, you should have understanding. If you're claiming that you're a full stack developer, you should have understanding of this entire end-to-end process. So that is what we'll be learning. Any questions so far? Yes, Mahesh, you are saying something?
No,
Okay.
no. I just have one question.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is, if we are explaining everything nicely, that's perfect. I can understand what you're saying. I'm a finance student. I can understand what you're saying. But why don't we start with your own company with something we can improve ourselves, right?
I didn't get. Can you repeat your question, please?
You're saying full stack. If you know about the full stack, it's back end and front end, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So if you know what you're doing, why don't you start your own company?
Okay.
Why don't we start with our own company?
I got it.
Sorry
I
about
got it.
that.
Yeah, I'll explain you. See, full stack is a very wide thing, right? So, for example, okay, if you learn all these things, you will learn it from mentors, right? But you have to actually work somewhere to get a deep understanding. In the planning, you can plan, okay, front and back end. But if you're talking about starting your own company, that is a very good idea. But in that case, you have to work with different clients, you have to communicate with them, right? So, these things you will not be able to understand until unless you are not working in any company. So,
Yes, yes, perfectly right. Yes.
yeah, like for example, okay, I will explain you, I will teach you about this code and best practices, but again, for 3 or 4 years, whenever you will work in any company, there you will learn different aspects. They might be using different things, they might be using different things, right? When I joined my company right now, I didn't know even a single technology that they are using, right? But now I know them. So sometimes we don't know what is going inside a company, but you will get a very good exposure. After that, if you have some working experience, you can definitely start your companies. And all the companies are built like this only. People will go, they will learn from different companies, and they feel so much confident they can start their own thing because they know end-to-end
Yes.
process, right?
Yes, yes. Why I'm saying to you, you mentioned example in the pizza job, right? Because
Yeah.
I am the pizza chef, I'm a head chef.
Yeah.
I know I started so many business in UK.
Yeah.
Okay, so the thing is, I am really like interested in full stack, but I want to start my own company and I want to know, you said it's chef, right? How do
Yeah.
we take servers from everywhere?
Yeah.
The point.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll explain that also.
So
That is right. Yeah.
yes, so I'm just want to know curious about it, That's why I'm
Yeah.
asking you. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, fine, fine. Hey, it's a good question only. Okay. Yeah, cool, good. But yeah, it's a very good. And I have, a lot of my friends are there who did full stack. in India location, and they have started their own IT companies. Maybe I'll share you links with them. You can read their about stories. So, but
Okay,
again,
okay. Okay.
they did work with clients or in different companies. They work in small companies so that they can directly talk with clients. Because in big companies, you need some level to reach that, right? But yeah,
Yes,
okay,
yes, yes. Perfectly
yeah,
right. Yeah.
okay. So coming to the next point, okay, once you learned full stack, right? What are different benefits you get? Okay, full stack means you know end-to-end process. So you have a lot of benefits. First of all, uh, see, full stack developers can work on both front end and back end technologies, right? So it is much adaptable, and you can get you have a comprehensive skill set over here. I'll mention it, and you have a better collaboration with different teams because you know bit of deployments, you know bit of front end, back end, right? Not bit, but good knowledge. So you can collaborate with different kind of teams. Maybe a DevOps team, you wanted to collaborate for any deployment issue. You can collaborate with teams, and you have end-to-end problem solving skills. That is also a one thing. And job opportunities are always there for full stack developers. Yeah, and you can also provide a faster delivery of project because you can participate in every aspect. You can participate in a planning phase, you can participate in UI or backend or deployment. Any phase you can participate and contribute. So project will also be delivered fast. So these are some key terms that companies might look in a full stack developer. So they might want you to have a good communication skills for better collaboration with your technical skills also, right? So that's what. Okay, now come back and we'll discuss one important thing that I not missed. Let's go bit in detail how actually this internet works, right? So that is just high level overview. I told you, okay, you are a client, you made a request and it comes back, right? So that's all. But I have one more diagram. Before coming to that, I wanted to explain you one more thing and you will love that. Okay, let's go. So I'll drop, right? Okay, so this is your browser. You can say in your laptop you are running one browser, and let's say this internet is so wide, you know, right? Not only a single company is there, right? Millions of companies are there. Like Amazon is there, Google is there, some small companies, good companies, lot of companies are there. You don't even know. So I told you that you should have a server. Server is nothing like a computer that is running 24 into 7. So we have a different servers over the internet. Right? Let's say this server belongs to Google, right? And let's say these servers belong to Facebook or this belongs to Instagram. For now, you can simply say. So you are a client, right? And you wanted to make a request to, let's say, Google. You wanted to just write google.com in your browser. So what actually happens whenever you write google.com? If I press enter, you know, lot of things are happening behind the scene. Like the moment you will press enter over here, around 8 to 9 things will happen, then you will get the response. So that is what I will explain you. Whenever you enter any URL over to your browser and you press enter, what happened behind the scenes, right? So I'll explain you that. So let's say uh, you wanted to access Google. So every company has their own name, like Google has google.com or Facebook have facebook.com, and my website or some other website, IT Talent, everyone is having their own URLs. So one thing you have to understand, guys, let's say there is a very big city and you wanted to deliver a product to a specific house. So you need the address of that house, right? Right? You need the address of that house. If you have the address, then you can deliver your product to that particular house. So internet is also so big and lot of servers are running over the internet. Whenever you wanted to deliver, make any request to any server, what you need the address of that server. And server is nothing, it is simply a computer that has internet connectivity and running 24 into 7. So every computer over the internet has something, and that is known as an IP address. Every computer has their own IP address, right? Over the internet, like this computer will be having their own IP address, and this IP address will uniquely identify this computer from all the computers on a same network, right? So every computer has the IP address. So if you wanted to make a request to any specific server over the internet, you have to provide the IP address of that server, right? But hey, whenever you wanted to make a request to the Google, you will just write google.com. You will not write the IP address. IP address is something like this, like 244.12.122 something. It's just a number like this, 4 digit. I'll explain you later about this. So IP address is a format that will uniquely identify your address over the internet. So if you wanted to make a request to any server, you need its IP address. But you will never write IP address over here, right? You have seen. You will always write some English words. Why? because it is bit difficult to remember IP address of lot of services. Because frequently every day you might use a lot of websites. You cannot remember IP address of every website, right? It's a bit difficult for you to remember this big number for every website. Okay, I'll tell you example. In your phone, you have a contact book. Why there is a contact book? So that you don't have to remember phone numbers. You can just write phone number once and you can add one alphabetical name with that. And through that name, you can call that phone number. So similarly, IP address is there, right? But IP address is bit difficult to remember. So every company purchase a unique name from internet that is known as domain name, right? And you can purchase the name from any provider like GoDaddy or any lot of providers are there. So you will purchase one unique domain name. Like, okay, I purchased ashishkumar.com. You purchase ittalenthub.com or .in.uk, anything, right? So you purchase one unique identifier for you, and then you will simply map that name with your IP address. That, hey, anyone who is making requests to my name, that should resolve to this particular IP address. Like you are doing in your phone book, you have number, you will associate it with the name, and the moment you will search that name, that number you can dial directly. So similarly, IP address I will map with a domain name. I will purchase it from any provider, right? So that is how it works. So domain name is simply a unique name, alphabetical name, but the mapping of domain name with an IP address, that is done with the help of DNS. DNS is known as domain name server. It is actually another server that has the entire data which domain is pointing to which IP address. That is what it works. That is what is DNS. DNS, lot of DNS servers are there, right? And DNS will contain the information which alphabetical like domain is pointing to which IP address over the internet. So that is, these are the two components that I wanted to explain you. Now I will create one diagram, one illustration, and you will understand it in a better way, right? Let's come back here. Let's say this is your computer, right? And this is, let's say, internet, and lot of services are running. And let's say you created your own service and you put it in this computer. And let's say this computer is having IP address of 192.43.34.1, something like this. And inside this computer, your service is running. And you wanted to provide this service to your client. So you go on to GoDaddy, right? And there you purchase a domain, let's say abcd.com. This domain you purchased. Then purchasing a domain itself is not sufficient. You have to point this domain to this particular IP address in the DNS. So there is, let's say, a DNS. DNS is what? It's just a server. DNS is a server where entire data is stored, like which name is pointing to which IP address. So what is the name in this case? The name is abcd.com. You will create one entry over the DNS. Hey, this is my name that I purchased, and this name is pointing to this particular IP address. That is one entry you will create, right, over the DNS. You are done. So you are a developer, you did it. Now let's say this is a client. This client opens Chrome in their browser, right? And let's say inside the Chrome, they will write what? They will write your abcd.com. But in the URL, they have written abcd.com. Now listen to me carefully, guys. The moment you will press enter, you have written one English name, right? Like one alphabetical name. So this Chrome doesn't know where to send this request. So first, whatever you have entered, the Chrome will first make a request to the DNS server. The first step is your request is sent to the DNS server. From wherever you are accessing your laptop. Let's say I'm in India, and if I press abcd.com, my request will be first sent to a DNS server closest to my location. We have a DNS server spread across all over the world, right? And if you enter DNS entry in any of the server, it will be replicated to all the servers by default by the DNS provider like GoDaddy or something. So the moment I will press enter, what is the first step that will happen? I will, like, my system will find the closest DNS server for me, and it will send the request to the DNS server. But it will ask in the request that, hey, I have one alphabetical letter that is abcd.com. Can you give me its respective IP address? So again, this DNS will have lot of thousands of entries, right? So the moment your client you press enter, you will send a request. So okay, it will see, okay, this particular domain is pointing to this IP address. So it will give that IP address back to your browser. And what second step will happen? Now browser got the IP address, so browser will send the request. Now browser will send the request to your server through its IP address, by its IP address, because IP address it got from the DNS. Now browser will send the request to the server using its IP address. And then once the server is done with your processing and you are giving the response back, again the browser will take that data from the server, and then it will, the data can be HTML file, it can be a CSS file, it can be anything, right? And this entire thing you will just render over your screen so that your client can see. So that is how it works. So behind the scene, if I just press enter now, right? See, in this case, I press enter. I entered one IP address. It has made a request to the DNS server, but this is an invalid IP address. There is no nothing. So see, again, it is loading, loading, loading. Why? Because it has sent the request directly. I directly provided one IP address, right? So it will skip this step and it will just make a request to the server, but uh, there is no client, there is no actually server over the internet with this IP address. It's an invalid IP address. So it has made the request, but it will never get the response. So it will just show you this loading. See, it is loading again and again and again. Why? Because your client has made a request to the server that is not exist. So you will never get a response. So after some time, it will say couldn't find the server, but it will wait for 1 or 2 minutes, right? So that is how. But if you provide any name, first it will send a request to your closest DNS server to get the IP address, and then it will make a request to that IP address, and it will take that data and it will show the data for you. So that is how this entire thing works. Guys, any doubts still here? Yes. Hey, you are feeling it's bit confusing. It's easy only. Yes, whatever I'm explaining for now. Anyone? Okay. Cool. So see, this site can't be reached. Took too long to respond because again, this is an invalid IP address, so it will never get a response. So we got timeout. That's how it works, right? Okay. Yeah, this is one thing. Now coming to the next point, right? Give me a minute, guys. Yeah. Now coming to the next point, let's discuss about what all technologies you'll be learning, right? So as I explained you guys, we have lot of things in the full stack development. Some of the things are related to security, some of them might be related to planning, some of them might be related to your client server deployment, right? So these are some technologies that we'll be learning from this entire journey. So first let's talk about front end. In the front end means creating a client code, the code that will be running over the client side, that is known as front end, right, in your browsers or something. So in the front end, we'll be starting from very basic technologies like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. HTML is a language that is mainly used to create the structure of websites, and CSS is a language that is used to apply designs over the structure, and JavaScript is a language that allows you to insert a brain inside any website. For example, a human skeleton, that is HTML, and the things over the skeleton, like I'm wearing different kind of clothes, different kind of hairstyles, right? That is my CSS, my stylings, and my brain that is moving my entire components, that is a JavaScript. So these, if you know these three things, you will be able to create a basic websites with the help of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Again, it's not enough to create a full-fledged website. You have to learn about DOM, like with the help of JavaScript, how you can move different components of website. Like with the help of brain, we are able to move our hand and we are able to do different kind of tasks. But what if I'll say our brain forget to communicate with our different components? Then it's useless, right? We will be just able to think, but we will not be able to act. So that is what is known as DOM manipulations. How you can apply any JavaScript code so that it can manipulate different components of your website. That is what a DOM. For example, you clicked on a button, and then the moment you clicked on the button, it will show you a loading, like please wait. And once it is done, it will again show you the normal button. So how you can change different components of website, that is what is DOM. Again, in order to make that designing bit more faster, you'll be learning a framework Bootstrap that allows you to design more faster. So after this, you will be learning a very trending technology that is known as a React. Again, React is a JavaScript library that allows you to create single page and very fast and enhanced applications. All the modern applications that you are seeing like YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, they all are built on the top of React. So React is the one thing that we'll be learning and we'll be focusing a lot. And these are some of the concepts in the React that are used to state for the state management, like what is JSX, how what is Redux, what is context API. So this entire thing will be covering in our entire front-end journey, starting from basics, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, DOM manipulation, some designing frameworks like Bootstrap, and some advanced libraries like React, and some of the concepts like state management concepts like Redux and context API. So this is what we'll be doing in the front end, right? Yeah. Now coming to the backend, right? In the backend, we have a lot of things. So we'll be basically starting with Node.js. Again, all these things revolve around JavaScript. React is a JavaScript library. Node is a JavaScript frame runtime, right? Everything is based on JavaScript. So we will focus too much over the JavaScript also, so that you can have understanding of all these things. So Node.js is a JavaScript runtime that allows you to create a very powerful event-driven backend architectures or backend codes you can create with the help of Node.js. And Express.js is another module of Node.js that allows you to mainly create web servers. So that is what we'll be learning, because Node is too wide. From the Node, we'll be learning Express that allows you to create web servers. That's what we'll be learning. And how you can build the REST APIs. I will discuss about APIs in upcoming sessions. What are APIs? Why we develop them? But again, the clients will always communicate with the servers through the APIs. That is how it works, right? So clients will communicate with the servers through APIs. So that is what is building REST API. And we'll be also learning how we'll be doing database communications, like how you can store the data in the database, how you can retrieve it. All these things you'll be doing. And yeah, important part is you'll be also learning how you will create authentication system. Like, okay, you will not allow the users to make a request to your server without being authenticated. Like you have seen that you cannot do over the Instagram if you are not logged in, right? So you should be logged in to post a request. Without logging in, you cannot post a request. So how to implement authentication, like login with Google, Facebook, or maybe email. How you can implement role-based authentication. Sometimes you might have seen that some websites have role-based authentication where admin has some different privileges. A normal user can do some different tasks. Different roles are there, and according to roles, you can do the task or the website. So how you can build a role-based authentication, and different protocols over the internet, how you can implement web sockets for real-time chatting, how you can implement WebRTC for video calling applications, different kind of network protocols. So these things are bit related to networking and security. So these things will be covering. This is the entire backend package, and this is the front-end package. I'm just calling it as a package. Some of the extra services that you'll be learning about deployment and all, right? So in the deployment, you'll be learning about AWS S3, sorry, AWS EC2 instance, how you can create a virtual computer over the cloud. That is what you'll be learning. How you can deploy your backend over the render, how you can deploy your client over the Versal, how you can store the static data over AWS S3, how you can use Git. Git is a tool that is used to manage the code and multiple versions and all. Yeah. Multer is something I'll explain you in upcoming sessions, mainly used to handle images, videos, and all. How you can test. See, writing code is not a sufficient thing. How you can test your code, how you can debug the code, how you can write the automated test. So this entire testing process also will be learning. So how you can test your APIs with Postman, how you can debug your client, how you can write automated test for your server. So this is the entire thing that we'll be covering throughout our training of the training that I explained you. So guys, any doubts still here? You have any questions for me? Yes. Okay. So these are all the technologies, and our learning will be divided into 4 phases, right? So our learning will be divided into 4 phases, and I call it as a 0 to hero phase. So where we'll start not from zero, we'll start from basic and we'll come to advanced part. So in the basics, whenever you are in basic phase, right, you will be learning the basics like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, uh, about document object model and Bootstrap. And the main objective, once you complete the basic phase, is you should be able to create a small websites by your own, like maybe a movie website where you can search for different kind of movies, maybe a weather website where you can see the weather of any city, right? So if you're done with basic phase, it means you are capable of creating all the basic websites, starting from structure designing and implementing the logic with the help of these technologies. Then we will move to the intermediate phase where you'll be learning about React, uh, mainly React.js, Node.js, Express.js, database communications, how to write REST APIs, context API, and bunch of other stuff. And once you are done with intermediate phase, it means you are now able to create a modern websites with the help of React, and you can now create a small web servers as well as small clients also. You can create the entire REST APIs, and you can create your servers, your clients with the help of React, and REST APIs with the help of Express and Node, and you can integrate a database also. So after intermediate, your intermediate phase, you will be able to create a small full-fledged websites, right? And once jump into the advanced phase, you'll be learning the advanced concept like authentication, authorization, role-based access control, web sockets, web RTC, network protocols. So these are all the advanced things that allow you to make whatever you have learned, how you can scale it, how you can scale your APIs to handle thousands of traffic, how you can secure the things with the help of authentication, authorization, how you can create a video calling application, chatting applications, right? These all things are falls under advanced. Uh, and meanwhile, all these phases, whenever you are in basic phase, you are intermediate phase, you are in advanced phase, you will be creating lot of projects in each phase, like theater box. It's a project where you can search data of different kind of movies. And flip game, it is a game where you can flip the cards and you can match. You will be creating WhatsApp clone, uh, like calling, video calling, sending files and all. You'll be creating a hospital management system, something like that. It will be having role based things like admins will be there, doctors will be there, patients will be there, appointments you will be booking and slots and all. So something like that. So this entire journey will be divided into main three phase, and during these three phase you will be learn everything, like creating client server, writing tests, doing deployments, securing things, planning, everything you will be learning, right? So yeah. So one more thing I have, I'll explain that, not this one. Yeah. So any questions for me so far, guys? Yes, you have any doubts in your mind, because I'm only talking from long time. So if you have any doubts, anything, any concern, you can ask me. Okay, just wait for 1 minute. Sorry, guys. Really sorry, guys. Yeah. Okay, cool. So one more thing I just wanted to tell you, right? So you are not feeling bored till here, or you are, no one is speaking. That's why I'm saying. Okay. Yeah. So let's come back to our thing where we were, right? So, okay, as a full stack developer, we should learn all these things like how to create front end, back end clients and everything, right? But I just wanted to show you one diagram. I think where it is. Oh, I missed it, I think. Oh my God. Okay. Oh, just a second, guys. Okay. Okay, cool. So I'll do it more. So I'm just sharing my screen. Do let me know once it is visible, right? Yeah, just a second. So are you able to sorry, are you able to see my screen? Yes, guys.
Yes.
Okay. This is one very interesting and very amazing diagram. This is a diagram, right, that is representing the entire application that can handle good amount of traffic. So this is one diagram that I wanted to explain you, right? So in this diagram, this entire thing is your backend. This entire thing is your backend. So this is one diagram of a scalable web application. It is a scalable web app architecture. It is actually, and forgive me for spelling, right, I'm writing it a bit fast. Yeah. So this is entire very good and scalable web app architecture. So client is separate thing. In the client you'll be creating some bunch of UI, that's all. But let's come back to this important point. So this is the entire server. So see, server is not about a computer, it has some different components with it. So server is like, this is your computer that will be running 24/7. Inside this your code is running, right? But you might have different components with your server. For example, whenever client is sending you any data, you want to store it in some database, right? So you will be having a different kind of databases. Like we'll be learning about MongoDB and basics of SQL also. So you have to integrate databases with your server, right? And what if this database fails? Let's say there is something happens and this entire database is corrupted, then you will lose your entire data, right? What if the database of Instagram fails? They will lost all their images, profiles, all their users, right? So we always have a backup databases. So you create a backup database. So if anything happens to this database, immediately we have a backup database. You can make it active, and now this server will talk with this database. Till then, you can repair this one, and once it is repaired, again you can make it active. So whenever you are storing any data over here, you will also replicate this data to your backup database, right? So something like this. So see, creating application that can handle millions of traffic, that is what engineering is, right? And we have to learn that process. And again, you need a cache. Cache is like a small memory where you can store the frequently accessed data. Let's say one client is there and he's regularly accessing any information, right? So let's say in one day he's making around 900 requests for a single data, and every time we are fetching the same data again and again from database. Let's say client made a request, server will fetch the data from database, and then it will give you the data back to you. And the same client is making 900 requests for same data. So why to fetch data again and again from database? So you can store it in a very fast memory, that is cache. That okay, this data is being accessed very frequently. So instead of fetching it from database, I will store it in a cache. And now if you made a request, instead of fetching data from database, I can take it from cache and I will return it to you. So it will add a bit of enhancement. Your API will be a bit more fast because databases are a bit slow as compared to cache. So integrating caches and uh, okay, then expiring the data from cache. Okay, after one day you might expire the data from cache, something like that, right? So this is one server. What if your single server fails? So you will be replicating multiple servers. You will be having 10 to 20 servers, right? So how to send the request? Let's say you have 10 servers. If this is your first server, this is second server, this is third server, this is your fourth server. So same service you are running over the four server, right? So when a client is making request, why you're running in four servers? So that what if your one server fails, these three are up and they can handle request, right? So how your client will know this request should be redirected to which server? Let's say these three servers are very busy and they have lot of traffic, but this server is free. So how your browser should know that okay, this request has to be redirected to this server? So for that we apply something known as load balancer. Load balancer will take a request and it will then identify, okay, this request should be redirected to which particular server. The server which is less busy, I can forward that request to that server, right? Like you might have seen that in a single pizza shop, right? Not all, if that pizza shop is having lot of customers, then there is not a single person who will cook. There will be around 5 to 6 cooks, right? Because if they will put only a single person, but if that person go on the leave, so their entire pizza shop is shut because the guy who's cooking pizza is not there. So they will have 5 to 6 people who anyone can take a request. So if 5 people are cooking pizza and someone is giving order, so now the sixth person who is free, he will cook the pizza, right? Something like that. So similarly over the internet also, whenever we are so this entire planning comes under the deployment process. Whenever you write a code, it's fine. You will implement cache, database, and all. But once you are going to deploy your code, how you can deploy it in a such a way that it can fail any kind of failures. Like it should be highly available and fault tolerance. The whatever system you are building, that system must be highly available. If any failure is occurring, still your system should highly available, and it should bear any kind of fault, and your services should be up and running. So that's why we did database replications, and we will create multiple replications of our server, and we will add one load balancer that will take a request from the internet, and it will decide this request has to be forwarded to which particular servers, and then servers will communicate with their respective databases and caches, right? So this is a high level architecture of a scalable backend application, right? So something like this we'll be building with the help of cloud. So we'll be mainly working with Azure or AWS, and we'll be deploying this in such a way that our APIs can handle millions of traffic, right? That's what. So yeah, I'll just, and these are some of the full stack developer. I'm not focused much on salaries, but what I focus is industry. So if you have a good knowledge of full stack, right, you can jump into any of the industry. So you can jump into account industries, entertainments like Netflix, banking like JP Morgan, and a lot of companies are there. Again, computer software is the one thing you know. You can jump into insurance companies also. All these companies have tech product. You can jump into telecommunications. I'm working in telecommunication companies, right, in my entire career as a full stack developer. So yeah, you can work in transport companies. You can work like Airbnb or something. They have a good full stack services. So travel and tourism, right? So you can jump in any of these actually industry if you have a good knowledge of full stack, because all these industries are using websites, web apps to deliver their services to your customers. Remember, in the beginning, I told you three ways are there. Android, you can create softwares or you can create websites. But all these companies are majorly having their web apps through which they are providing their services to their clients. So they also needs the developer who can handle their web apps, right? Because that is important for them. If their web apps stop working, they will lose their clients. So that's what. Uh, Again, you can see these things. These are some of the full stack developer salaries across the globe. But yeah, uh, that's all from my side, guys. Hope you enjoyed the session, and I was able to clear most of your doubts. And if you have any questions, anything for me, you can ask me. Yeah, that's all from my side for today. Yes, any questions from any of you? Any of you? Okay, so that's all. So if you got any question, right, and again, our team will reach out for to you. So make sure, even if you wanted to clarify any sort of doubt, you can reach out to our team, right? They will be there to help you. uh, if you're not having any phone number or any contact, it was there in the slide. Maybe I can show you. Yeah, okay, I'll share it with you. That's all. Our team will actually have a, you are having a WhatsApp group, right? We'll put all the details over there, and you can ask me any doubt, anything that is happening anywhere. So that's all. So one thing I forgot to tell, I think in our entire journey from starting to end, right? Whatever we are learning, we will always learn with the help of project. Even we are doing a basic stuff, we'll create a basic project. If you are learning intermediate things, we'll create an intermediate project. With project only we'll be learning. So in the end, we'll be having a project, and we should have integrated all the role-based authentication, WebSocket communications, video calling apps, everything we should have built through this entire training. That is what my aim is, with a good understanding of behind the processes, and we should be able to deploy it in a fault tolerance and highly available way. That's the agenda of a full stack developer. That's all. Hope you enjoyed the session. We'll
Yes.
catch. Yeah, so you are able to get all the things that I shared. Again, guys, in the first session only, we will be not be learning all these things. This is all the things I just explain you through the entire course. So these are the things that you will be learning. Like I told you about DNS, right? How you can create DNS entries, or how you can create client code, how you can create server code. So all these things you will be learning. It will take time, but I just explained you what all things you will be doing and how the things are working, so that you can just see the view of ocean. That's all, right? Uh, okay, cool, guys. Bye bye, all of you. Take care and enjoy your day. We'll catch up some. Bye bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Welcome all.